From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. First, the headlines. Rohingya refugees sue Facebook for $150 billion. Nobel Literature winner Abdul-Razak Gurnah received medal in United Kingdom. U.S. announces diplomatic boycott of Beijing Winter Olympics. Maine city inaugurates first Muslim mayor. Indian Christians defy curfew to bury 14 civilians killed by Indian troops. Multiple fires were set to Albuquerque Mosque. And our top story tonight. Rohingya refugees from Burma are suing Facebook for $150 billion. They're alleging that the platform failed to act against anti-Rohingya hate speech, which fueled violence against them in the region. The lawsuit has been filed in California's Superior Court. Nasir Zakaria, president of the Rohingya Culture Center in Chicago, is one of the plaintiffs. Rohingya refugees in Europe have filed a similar case in the United Kingdom. The complaint reads, Facebook's growth fueled by hate, division, misinformation has left hundreds of thousands of devastated Rohingya lives in its wake. Facebook is largely protected from such allegations in the U.S. under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. It provides a liability shield for internet companies over content posted by third parties. There's no such law in Burma that protects social media platforms.
Facebook does not want to be the face of hatred, but it has been used often to spread hate. Facebook was the main instrument of raging hate against Rohingya in Burma. The International Court of Justice considers that to be a genocide. The Dalits of India noted that it has become a weapon of choice against minorities. Then came Congress complaining of the same.
The Stop Hate for Profit campaign is a coalition.
Here is Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin from Maryland's 8th District asking Mark Zuckerberg about hate on Facebook. This hearing was held on July 29, 2020. Zuckerberg told this in the hearing.
In terms of fighting hate, we've built really sophisticated systems. Our goal is to identify it before anyone even sees it on the platform.
However, anti-Muslim hatred and Islamophobia are all over Facebook. WhatsApp, owned by Facebook, is actually the main organizing tool for the lynching mobs in India. Well, this is where Muslim advocate filed a lawsuit of fraud on Zuckerberg. He lied under oath that he will remove hate from Facebook. His lawyer, however, is arguing that he is immune from the lawsuit. And one of his lawyers, Jonathan Kravis, is the one who actually successfully tried Roger Stone for lying to Congress. In the meantime, hate-mongers continue to use Facebook.
An in-depth analysis on this lawsuit is coming up later tonight in our show, so keep watching Muslim News. British Muslim novelist Abdul-Razak Gurnah, winner of this year's Nobel Prize in Literature, received his medal on Monday in London. Gurnah was awarded the prize in October for his novels portraying the effects of colonialism and the plight of refugees. Swedish ambassador to London, Michaela Gumlin Granit, presented Gurnah with his medal and a diploma at her official residence. The distinction comes with a cash prize of over $1 million. Born in Zanzibar off the East African coast in 1948, Gurnah fled to Britain as a refugee in the late 1960s. The Swedish Academy honored Gurnah for his uncompromising and compassionate penetration of the effects of colonialism and the fate of the refugee in the gulf between cultures and continents. The United States on Monday announced a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, citing human rights abuses and the genocide of the Uyghur people. This boycott, however, will not stop U.S. athletes from competing. Justice for All and other Uyghur activists have been demanding the U.S. boycott the upcoming Olympics, which are to be held in China. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki had this to say.
The Biden administration will not send any diplomatic or official representation to the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics and Paralympic Games, given the PRC's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang and other human rights abuses. The athletes on Team USA have our full support. We will be behind them 100% as we cheer them on from home, but we will not be contributing to the fanfare of the Games.
French prosecutors on Monday said that they would investigate violent incidents at a campaign rally by far-right pundit Eric Zemmour, who was assaulted while attempting to take the stage. Fighting broke out shortly after Zemmour began speaking at a venue outside Paris Sunday night. His supporters tackled protesters who stood up wearing T-shirts saying "No to racism." Several people were detained by police during the rally, including a man who grabbed Zemmour violently, injuring his wrist, his campaign team said. Security guards removed the protesters and restored calm after about 10 minutes. A crew from the popular nightly TV news show, Quotidien, was also booed and briefly removed by security. Zemmour and other speakers focused on hostility between the media. Reporters Without Borders condemned Zemmour a day after journalists were targeted at his first major campaign meeting for his 2022 presidential bid.
Vous êtes qui?
SOS Racisme.
Vous êtes venu pourquoi, madame?
Pour dénoncer les discours racistes.
Pour montrer la violence.
Action pacifique. Juste une action pacifique, monsieur.
Non, c'est avec elle, on reste avec elle. Vous comprenez?
Résistance et la rue.
S'il me déteste, c'est parce qu'il vous déteste. S'il me méprise, c'est parce qu'il vous méprise. Contre moi, tout est permis. La meute est désormais lancée à mes trousses. Mes adversaires veulent ma mort politique. Les journalistes veulent ma mort sociale et les djihadistes veulent ma mort tout court. L'enjeu est immense. Si je gagne cette élection, ce ne sera pas une alternance de plus, mais le début de la reconquête du plus beau pays du monde. Devenu écologiste et tous ces écologistes devenus islamo.
A federal judge ruled that 2 New York City transit agencies may have discriminated against a Muslim conductor by failing to consider accommodations for his beard. The agencies moved the conductor to a lower-paying assignment when he refused to shave his beard for religious reasons. That led to him being disqualified from a construction flagger role, which he had worked on for more than a decade. The conductor used a loose-fitting respirator when working around diesel engine locomotives emitting exhaust containing toxic gases, the New York federal court said. A Maine official believed to be the first Muslim elected to the South Portland City Council is now the town's mayor. Voters in the state's 4th largest city elected Dhaka Dalak to the city council in 2018. This year, the 7-member council chose to elevate her to the mayoral post. Dhaka immigrated to the US from Somalia and has a background in social work. Hundreds of mourners defied a curfew on Monday to bury 14 civilians killed by Indian soldiers. A military commando unit shot dead 6 coal miners returning to their homes in remote northeastern Nagaland state on Saturday. Another 8 people were killed by troops when they were confronted by a furious crowd. Hundreds of locals carried the victims' coffins to a public ground in Mon district to conduct prayers. They ignored a curfew and internet blackouts imposed after the violence. Nagaland and other states in northeast India have a Christian majority. The area has seen decades of unrest by guerrilla armies whose demands range from greater autonomy to secession from India. The mourners were later joined by Nagaland Chief Minister Naipiu Roy, who slammed the military over the killings and ordered an investigation. He demanded the cancellation of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which gives immunity to the Indian military in Nagaland as well as in Kashmir. No member of India's military personnel has ever been prosecuted for their crimes against civilians. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene last week attacked fellow Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace after she condemned anti-Muslim comments. These were made by Republican Representative Lauren Boebert against Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Boebert said she felt safe sharing an elevator with Omar recently because she wasn't wearing a backpack, equating Omar to a terrorist. Omar said that the interaction on the elevator never happened and accused Boebert of falsifying the story to arouse her base. Omar is one of the 3 Muslims in Congress. Mace on Sunday said she condemns Boebert's anti-Muslim comments and that she was disappointed by the Colorado Republicans' remarks. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, a Republican, has not condemned Boebert's remarks. However, Omar said House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has committed to taking action to address Boebert's offensive statement. The iPhones of 11 U.S. Embassy employees working in Uganda were hacked using the Pegasus spyware, which was developed by Israeli surveillance firm NSO Group. It's the first known case of Pegasus being used against American officials. The United States blacklisted NSO Group a month ago. This was because its technology had been used by foreign governments to repress dissent, people familiar with the breach said. Pegasus can be remotely implanted in smartphones. This allows it to extract sound and video recordings, encrypted communications, photos, contacts, location data, and text messages. It is believed that one of NSO's clients had directed the spyware against U.S. Embassy employees. The disclosure is likely to heighten tension with Israel over the American crackdown on Israeli firms that make the software used to spy on dissidents. President Joe Biden plans to further crack down on the use of such software at a White House summit next week. Surveillance video showed an unidentified woman setting multiple fires on Monday near the prayer hall of the Islamic Center of New Mexico. Mosque members believe that fires were started by a woman who came to the center last week. Council on American Islamic Relations National Communications Director Ibrahim Hooper urged New Mexico law enforcement authorities and the FBI to investigate a possible bias motive. He said silence and inaction provide encouragement to bigots given recent hate incidents targeting mosques and prominent American Muslims. Kosovo President Vjosa Osmani and Prime Minister Albin Kurti laid a wreath and paid homage to U.S. Senator Bob Dole in the capital, Pristina. Dole died in his sleep Sunday at the age of 98. He was an advocate of Kosovo's independence and visited there twice in 1990s. To honor Dole's commitment and death, deputies of the Assembly of Kosovo started Monday's session with a minute of silence. Tributes poured in and flags were lowered to half-staff in honor of the veteran U.S. lawmaker and World War II hero. A coalition of humanitarian groups on Sunday warned the world could face wave after wave of variants. That is unless rich countries stop blocking a proposed patent waiver for COVID-19 vaccines. The groups urged immediate distribution of the technology needed to mass produce shots. Winnie Yanyima, Executive Director of UNAIDS and co-chair of People's Vaccine Alliance, said business as usual has led to huge profits for pharmaceutical firms. Meanwhile, many people are left unvaccinated. The recently detected mutated Omicron variant is wreaking havoc worldwide. It has spread in nearly 40 countries and is fueling a spike in hospitalizations amongst children in South Africa. Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment on Facebook. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back. To discuss the lawsuit against Facebook by Rohingya refugees, let's go to Imam Malik Mujahid. Over to you, Imam Mujahid.
Thank you, Hena. Rohingyas in America have struggled for a while. They came to America as refugees. But the company which added to their misery, Facebook, is right here. And now they are filing a lawsuit demanding a huge money, $150 billion, for the genocide of Rohingya people, which essentially was aided with the help of Facebook. We have with us one of the plaintiffs, who is also the leader of the Rohingya community in Chicago, Nasir Zakaria. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for inviting me.
We also have with us Richard Fields, who is one of the lead attorney with Fields LLC, joining us. Welcome to Muslim Network TV.
Thank you for having us on today. We're delighted to be here to talk about the case.
Tell us, Richard Fields, what is the case and why did you decide to take this on?
This is a case against Facebook for aiding and abetting the genocide of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, beginning with activities in 2012 and continuing even on to today. And the case is based on the fact that Facebook knew that its platform was being used to facilitate genocide. It was put on notice many, many times. It had an opportunity to act. It failed to act. And we now know, based on information in the public domain and through whistleblowers who are speaking out publicly, that Facebook has been using algorithms for many, many years to amplify hate speech and disinformation that was used by the Myanmar regime to target the Rohingya people. So that is the essence of the case.
Now, is your firm, and there are other firms, other lawyers involved in this?
In the United States, our firm is partnering with Edelson PLLC. Edelson is a well-known law firm in Chicago. They have sued Facebook many times and have had success in doing that. So we're very excited to be partnering with the Edelson firm. And in the UK, we're working with two law firms who will be filing a related suit for UK victims, Mishcon de Rea and McHugh Jury and Partners. So there are four law firms altogether coordinating their efforts on a global basis to try to bring justice to the Rohingya people for Facebook's role in aiding and abetting the activities of the Myanmar government.
Could you define what exactly were those activities which caused the genocide and allow it to happen?
So Facebook entered Myanmar as part of a project to bring the internet to other parts of the world. And in doing so, it partnered with telecommunications companies to have its app, to have the Facebook app on the phone. And in these countries, and particularly in Myanmar, that app became a gateway to the internet. So in essence, Facebook was the internet provider in Myanmar. It is how everybody with a mobile phone accessed the internet. The Myanmar government took advantage of that and set up fake accounts and then used those accounts to try to dehumanize the Rohingya and said terrible and horrible things about them, and then actually used those accounts to orchestrate attacks on specific villages. And this is the evidence that we will put on. And so it was the use of Facebook, what was happening there. But Facebook went beyond that. First of all, it had a duty to act when it realized these horrible crimes are being committed. It was put on notice many, many times by different people, including meetings in Facebook headquarters where this topic was discussed. It decided to do nothing. And so the genocide continued. And then we now know that Facebook's algorithms were designed to amplify just this type of hate speech and disinformation. It is the thing that increased user engagement. So this was part of Facebook's business model. And Facebook simply chose to continue making money when it could have had a major impact if it had chose to take down these accounts. It didn't do so.
Richard feels the hate through Facebook have been in other parts of the world also. For example, WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, as well as Facebook, has been used in India, which is also under genocide alert in Kashmir and in Assam. And hate speech and actually organizing violent crimes have been used. Do you see any possibilities of other countries and victims added to this lawsuit?
No, I don't. This lawsuit is going to focus specifically on the harm caused to the Rohingya community in the U.S. And in companion and in the UK and throughout the world. So this lawsuit will focus only on the Rohingya people.
Are you aware any other lawsuits being filed of this similar nature against Facebook?
Well, Facebook is facing a lot of litigation these days because of the sheer volume of information and the number of whistleblowers that are coming forward. and talking about what has been happening. But I do think here in the United States, there are a lot of lawsuits being filed against Facebook. I expect there will be more. I don't think there will be any like this case in the United States. This is unique. The atrocities committed in Myanmar are some of the worst atrocities that we've seen on the planet since World War II. And we are here to fight for justice for the Rohingya people.
Some lawsuit, some information regarding the lawsuit is saying, according to US law, Facebook is protected against what other people are putting on it. How you're going to handle this hurdle that you cannot file a lawsuit on Facebook?
You're talking about Section 230, which is a statute in the United States that provides immunity for internet service providers that host and distribute content. We think in the first instance here where the harm took place, both in California, where Facebook was managing its platforms, and in Burma, that Burma law ought to apply. And under Burmese law, there is no Section 230. There's no immunity law. So that is one way the court could decide this issue. That is what we will be arguing. And in addition, we think that the conduct of Facebook in this particular case is well outside the reach of Section 230.
Well, thank you so much, Richard Fields. Please stand by. In the meantime, we would like to talk to you, one of your clients, Nasir Zakaria, who is a leader of the Rohingya community and who is filing this lawsuit. Nasir Zakaria, could you please tell us why did you decide to be part of this lawsuit?
I am a Rohingya because of I'm supporting about this lawsuit. I believe the Facebook is responsibility, hate speech, crime against my people because of we are Rohingya people ongoing genocide.
What would you like Nasir Zakaria for Facebook to do?
That is, Facebook is main responsibility to not stopping hate speech ongoing on. So that is on our people, ongoing genocide happen. So we need justice for my people.
Richard Fields, one of the things which comes to my mind is there is a lawsuit in International Criminal Court, and in my capacity as the leader of Justice for All, we have a couple of human rights lawyers who are pursuing that. And there is a case in International Court of Justice. And we have assisted through our research that particular work among refugees. Do you think this case, which you have filed, has more potential of stopping genocide, which is still ongoing, as compared to those other two cases?
So these are very different proceedings, of course, with different processes, procedures, and different remedies. In the United States, what we're doing is we're looking for compensation for the harm caused to the Rohingya people. That is the primary focus of this case. We will be coordinating and already are coordinating with the lawyers in some of the other cases. I think what's unique about this lawsuit in the United States is that in the US, we have very broad access to information in a process called discovery, where we will have the opportunity to take the testimony under oath of current and former Facebook employees, to obtain documents that really explain exactly what Facebook knew, when they knew it, what they were doing, to understand their communications with the Myanmar government. That's a very valuable process that could yield information that could be helpful in all of these forums. And we're hoping that that this is a very open process because the world needs to know what happened here. This is an event of historical magnitude. The number of people harmed, the harm that's been caused, is unique, and so we're optimistic about being able to bring some justice here to the Rohingya people through this process, and we're optimistic that the discovery process here will yield new information about Facebook's involvement.
Well, thank you so much, Richard Fields and Nasir Zakaria, and thank you for your work. Hopefully, Facebook not only will have to compensate to the victims, but also hopefully it will serve as a deterrent. So thank you so much, Richard Fields, and thank you so much, Nasir Zakaria. Back to you, Hena.
Thank you so much. That's all from our Washington studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.